What's up, everybody? Welcome back to truly a winning Wednesday here at Fourth and Go, episode 53, making it, all the way to another year, 52 in a year, 52 weeks. We've done just a little more than that here on the Heat Ratio Sports Network. I'm Dave Gleckner. That's Mark Tomasini. We're going to talk to you all night about Philly sports and so much more. But I think Mark wants to just rip into the show right away like the Kool-Aid man going through the wall. What you got, brother?
What up? What up? Yes, it technically is a winning Wednesday. And, thinking about the Super Bowl parade 5 years ago, and Jason Kelsey said, if I don't eat, I'm pissed off. He said, I'm effing pissed off, but I'm going to try and keep it clean. I'm pissed off today because I had a good morning. And then when I wasn't looking, someone pissed in my Wheaties. So I'm trying to figure out what's the issue here. And is it the fact that CJ Gardner-Johnson is tweeting out the fact that Gannon set them up in the wrong place? No, it's not that. Is it the sod father, the guy who, has ran fields for, all this time, saying that they spent way too much money and they don't fix the problem and all they did was water down the fields and maybe rob us of the Super Bowl? No. Is it the fact that I can't watch Andrew Painter's first game because it's a road game in Clearwater? No. The Sixers win tonight. You would think that would be a good thing, sure. But since Christmas, the same BS has been going on. I think you remember, but Adrian Wojnarowski was tweeting out before Christmas Day games, and obviously the Sixers played, that James Harden is eyeing up Houston. So you're like, okay, Christmas, it's NBA's big game. It's a big thing. All right, they're drumming up some speculation and some stuff there. Okay, cool. And then it kind of dies off a little bit. But every day, a Houston reporter has been reporting something. Woj backs up again. I think Shams said something at one point. Today, Sam and Mick said something. And I'll just tell you, to be honest, I can already see the writing on the wall with this team. And I know last week I said I would be good. And I'm retracting my statement that I would be good if they make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. F that. I'm done. Because honestly, I'd rather them not to make the playoffs right now. And I know it sounds so stupid. But whether it's him, where there's smoke, there's fire. Whether it's him, whether it's agent trying to play hardball with Daryl Morey, who has done everything in his power to bring him in here. I don't even want the Sixers to make the playoffs because they're not going to do shit. They are not going to do shit because with this kind of distraction, with Doc Rivers as the head coach, none of this is going to work. We were looking at an amazing comfort behind win last Wednesday. Ever since then, they had the Boston Celtics game where they were up 17, and then they end up blowing the lead, and it comes close. And honestly, the defense wasn't that bad. Tatum makes a good shot. It's a good inbound pass by Marcus Smart, and then Embiid throws up the shot. That goes in from 75 feet away. That was just a second too late. Fine, whatever. And then they put up a dud on Monday night, and Jimmy Butler goes off. There's a travel call that's missed. And then tonight they go and they kick Miami's ass without Joel Embiid. The whole thing is effed. Like I said, I'm trying not to say the F word, so I'm going to stop myself from doing that. But I'm so frustrated. And we've gone through the Phillies making it to the World Series. We've gone to the Eagles making the Super Bowl. And I'm not a soccer guy, but the Union making it to the finals in the MLS. But we're looking at this thing now. The Sixers are going to be a major disappointment. They will be lucky if they get out of the second round because there's so many distractions. There's so many things with the MVP and Joel Embiid. Maxey finally has a good game, but, with Doc Rivers as the coach, I'm so over this. I'm done because the Sixers have been a nightmare. And maybe I'm just pissed off today. Like I said, someone pissed in my Wheaties. I don't know who when I wasn't looking. But I'm so frustrated as a Sixers fan that I'm just over it. I don't care what the score was tonight. My Comcast Xfinity wasn't working for me to be able to watch the game. I'm pissed off. And you know what? I don't give a shit anymore. Honestly, the Sixers are doomed. And I'm Dark Cloud Mark is back. We haven't talked about him in a couple years. And he's back, and I'm pissed off. Floor's yours.
They won tonight. That was pretty cool. Without Joel Embiid, without George Niang. And they actually played some pretty clean basketball, at half, 3 turnovers. They actually moved the ball, hit some threes. And it shows you, kind of what they can be. John Hollinger came out today and wrote an article on The Athletic talking about the 3 best teams in the NBA. Milwaukee, Boston, and it's Denver. But he said there's a fourth, obviously. But he's going back like to win the NBA title, you got to win a minimum of 52 games. Most have won 57 at least. And his fourth is the Sixers. So it's funny, with coming out with all this today, I got you, and I get why you're upset.
Yeah.
And where I lean towards agreeing with you is this team is not going to get to the NBA Finals. It's just not. I get it, and I know it, and the noise will get louder as they run into stiffer competition and have mishaps like they had in Boston and Miami the other day. And the problem is Harden's not a closer, right? And quite frankly, Embiid's not either. So how can these two together make it work and win 7-game series against the likes of the Bucks and Celtics? Probably not going to happen. But I will tell you this: they're going to fight. And whether or not you liked it or not, losing to Boston, they also went down 10 with 4 minutes left and brought it all the way back. So, and even Miami, they didn't have the lead all game until late in the fourth quarter. They finally took the lead. So the team plays hard. I mean, the Memphis game we talked about coming all the way back was just huge for the psyche of this team. And then even tonight, I mean, they did get down early, let up 38 in the first, and then locked them down the rest of the way. They're good enough. They have enough talent. They don't have enough of this. And then when you add what you just said, it's going to be a big distraction. And a distraction I don't think this team needs. And it's a shame. He should have put it to bed. He should have.
That's my issue. It's like, if it's not Harden directly, it's his agent. If they're playing games with Morey, it's a distraction that's not needed. That's my issue with it. He may want to be here, and this may be a money tactic. And this is him saying, I'm not taking a hometown discount like I did last year. Totally got it. Understood. But when you're dangling that low-hanging fruit there, saying, oh, I love what they have with Jalen Green, and the fact that they may get Victor Wantambe or whatever the hell that guy's name is, who's getting bodied in Serbia, by the way, or whoever the hell he's playing, he's going to get bodied by bigger guys because he's too slender. But that's another story for another day. You easily, while your team is in a playoff run, if you're trying to be that guy who doesn't have a championship, who has every single accolade in the NBA except for winning a championship, dude, you need to shut that down yesterday, and he hasn't.
Yeah, and that is a problem. I do. Why? Like, why Houston? Because they got a couple young players? No, because you want to go back to that life that
go to strip club. I don't care. He wants to go to a strip club.
I know, and I think you make there's something about taxes in Texas.
Sure,
I think,
of course,
that help out.
I don't think I know Florida doesn't have income tax, but I think Texas might not either. But
yeah, it's something that made players. I know when Jacob deGrom went there, he weighed some salaries, and that is an attractive situation. Like if all you're saying all year long is you want to win a championship, you're not proving it by going back there. But hey, I mean, I'm with you. I get it, and I get why you'd be mad because things aren't horrible. I mean, they're the 3 seed. They're 3 games up. They played some teams tough, and we're going to get the Milwaukee game this Saturday night. They're going to be the next chance to break this, all-time winning streak. They're up to 16 games, I think, now after winning again tonight. So Sixers are the next up. And I remember a game, I think it was 2 or 3 years ago, where we won in Milwaukee on a Saturday night, and it was just like, wow, that got us rolling into the playoffs and said, hey, it shows that we can beat these teams, and we never got a chance to see them in the playoffs. And I think it was the year we lost to the Hawks. So Saturday night, I think will go a long way. I think the talent's there. I just can't trust players that have never closed out before. Right. And that's really what the Sixers have right now. Now, more interesting, I wanted to talk about the Sixers is, there was this, after the Boston game, kind of, how do we get Maxey going? Right. Well, Maxey's going now. I think not having Embiid tonight, he drops 27. The other night, I think he dropped 23, something like that. He got moving again. And a little bit of it is getting him in the game when he can be a primary ball handler. And a little bit is getting his shot back and his confidence back. But, I truly believe Tyrese Maxey is the 3rd biggest piece on this team. I mean, Harris does so many little things, but he just disappears. Yeah. No, you need Maxey to get this thing to where it needs to be.
He's your change of pace guy. He's so fast. He does different things on the floor, and he's got a heart. And, I heard an interesting point recently that, maybe like Maxey has always been, and I it's not Maxey's personality that's changing himself, but I remember when Maxey came out, like even before he got drafted, he was talking about like he gets up at 5 o'clock in the morning. He's like, I have 3 workouts in before players are even getting onto the court.
I
He's like,
believe.
that's my life. And like, there was last year, like Doc like called him and like, dude, you got to go on vacation. You got to do something. Like, you got to get out of here. You got to, because he's addicted to the game. And, obviously we put these guys on these pedestals and, stuff like that. But it almost seems like the issues that are going on with the rest of the team are kind of falling upon him too. Like is he almost getting caught in their doldrums,
Mhm.
like in being around guys that maybe don't have that Mamba mentality, if we want to put it that way.
Mhm.
Maxie's a different breed. He is like, look, he's like, I don't care about the social life. I don't care about this. I don't care about that. I just want to play basketball. I want to be the best I can be. And then he's got other guys like Harden, whose agent's putting in that he's, halfway out. And, you never know what Embiid's doing and all this kind of stuff. It's just a whole lot of frustrating. And he was saying like a month ago when he was having a bad streak, he was like, I had to call my parents and be like, I'm in a bad way and I need to get
Mhm.
myself out of it. And it just seemed like he wasn't able to do it. But then he finally did. Like once he talked to them and got himself out of it, it went good. But it's happening more often than not now that he's losing his way all of a sudden. Glad to see that it's back, but how long does it hang around? That's the question that we have to ask ourselves. And to me, also, this falls in coaching too, but that's something that we're always dealing with.
Yeah, I mean, every game I laugh and the kids laugh and whoever I'm watching it with, we're gonna blow a lead. Now tonight didn't necessarily fully happen. I think they got it down like 10. It wasn't that like
Yeah.
scary, but it just it. But I got to give them credit on the other end because they've been down a lot lately and they've come back. So yeah, I agree. The coaching is still something that it's undesirable. And to another standpoint, I mean, the offense is 5 guys standing around and waiting for Harden to do his
Yeah.
32, 34 dribbles and then figure out, am I getting this high screen or not? Or if I'm dishing off, there's no movement. There's no, like, it's the driest. And that's why we can't score at the end of games to win games. Like, there's teams know what's coming.
There's no
There's no
creative.
play. There's never a play, which is amazing to think in professional basketball. I can't run a goddamn simple play, but I'm trying to at least put some shine on this because in the end, they're still a 40-win team, but they do have the hardest schedule going forward here. They play tomorrow night in Dallas. They go to Milwaukee. I want to say Phoenix is after that. They're right in there. It's they got a really hard schedule the rest of the way, so it's tricky, and it's going to be interesting to see how they can navigate this.
It's the Pacers.
There's one more in there. Dallas.
Timberwolves, Trailblazers, Wizards.
Oh, Timberwolves. It was the
Cavs, Hornets. Try to see. They don't play the Suns till like the end of the month.
okay.
25th, and then the Nuggets the 27th.
Okay, yeah. So I know it's a 5-game road trip, and then they come back in Portland. So yeah, Mavs, Bucks, Pacers, T-Wolves. So yeah, so it's gonna be tough, and this is I'd rather play the tough games at the end. I really would. I know that might be a little bit cliche from the standpoint of you want to win games so you can move up. Sixers aren't moving up. Sixers aren't falling down.
No,
I just need them to play these tough games and win some close ones, and that's really the key to me.
they need to build character. Absolutely.
Yeah, man. But look, it ain't all bad. I do get where you're at, and it is a little bit of heart and frustration, and Embiid not playing tonight doesn't really help things either. But it's not all bad.
I know, and the thing is, I love Harden probably more than most, but I'm just like at this point, you know what? If you want to be gone, just go already. Like I know, obviously, it's not a real thing, but like you know what? Just send him to Houston right now in the midseason. Just let him go.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Well, will it hurt the? I'll
tweeted
ask you
out
this. Does it hurt the team if he doesn't come back next year and you
No.
free up $40 million?
And I think there's good and bad to it. It's the fact that he or his agent or somebody in his camp is entertaining the fact of leaving here when this is your best chance to win. That's what pisses me off, because you have an opportunity. Like if you go to Houston, you're not winning because you're with a bunch of young guns, and you're going to be a step slower than you were this year.
We've gone over that, but is it
Right.
bad if he leaves for us?
No, for us, honestly, it's not the end of the world at all. But the problem is they have to find a replacement. That's really what I'm irritated about. Now, what they would have to do is not only would they have to offload Harden, they would have to offload Tobias too, to be able to bring in somebody.
Well, it depends. You're freeing up 30 or 39 million, but I hear you.
Like if to really make a substantial lineup adjustment, like left behind, if you have Embiid, Melton, Maxey, Harris, that's okay, but you still don't have that real facilitator.
So you got Westbrook, Kyrie Irving,
no,
D'Angelo Russell,
no,
Fred VanVleet. Those are the major point guards coming out. You got Middleton. I think he'll stay somehow. Porzingis, he doesn't really fit here. Vucevic, he doesn't fit here. Draymond doesn't.
You got to get creative and work a trade, because none of those options to me get the job.
I could get with the VanVleet. The problem with the VanVleet, and he wouldn't cost you everything that they're talking about, is that him and Maxey would make a really small backcourt.
Right.
I don't want.
Now, neither of them, in my opinion, are great defenders, and I think it would be a liability.
I don't want Irving and I don't want Westbrook, so throw them out.
Right.
Yeah, it's not as probably lustrous as it has been in past years. I mean, you can build a team around Embiid and Maxey, but man.
You got nothing else with that. You have to get you would have to get a Jimmy Butler in here. And it's, unless you can make that happen. If you have Maxey, Butler, and Embiid, okay, we're talking now.
Yeah.
Because you need a three that can a 3-and-D. You need a 3-and-D.
Yeah, Tobias a little bit of that, but no, I hear you.
In that level, like you need star power.
Yeah, then you need someone to get a little angry and make some waves, and I mean there might be some of that out there. I mean, you never knew that Donovan Mitchell was going to be, come available, and now Cleveland's reaping the benefits of that. So you might find something. I know it never has happened.
You gotta get creative.
We could still hang our hats on Lillard and hope. But I mean, the guy dropped 71 the other night, and his first comment is, "It wouldn't be awesome if we won it all here." Yo, bro, you gotta wake up because you ain't winning it all there. It just it's not happening. Like,
unless the Sixers offload Embiid to Portland, that's the way that they're doing it.
They still don't win. Like, I'm sorry, they still don't win.
I know, but I'm just saying that's his best chance if the Sixers make a trade and there and get what they get.
Yeah. But I could see some other things.
Next year could be a realistic option for them.
I could see the Lakers really unraveling things too. I mean, not saying I want LeBron here. Don't get me started on that. But would I take him? Sure, but no, I'm not. Yeah, like I just.
I wouldn't even entertain that anymore. But
I would for Harden. I mean, I definitely would take LeBron here. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying I'm not going to start the rumor mill and say
I wouldn't. I wouldn't. I can't stand him that much. I don't care how good he is. I can't stand him that much.
I can't stand him probably similar to you. I take him in it. I drive from fucking LA here. Like he would make this team an instant finals. I hear you on the personality, but I don't care. The game is there still. But again, it's 1-2 years. But how far off is he from Harden right now? He's better.
I agree.
Now, the other thing you got to keep an eye on are the LA Clippers, because that thing is going to blow. They're the highest salary in the NBA, and they are 6th seed in the West right now. And there is just no continuity there. So you could see some things blowing up there potentially. PG,
that alleviates my Jimmy Butler wanting. So
yeah, I don't want Kawhi, and listen, I'll take him, but he's going to play 40 games. I don't need that.
No, the continuity there is terrible, and that's half the reason why, because he can't get out there and play, and he's just like, yo, Paul George, we've never played together, we've never really talked before, but you want to get together in LA, like,
yeah.
What was that? I still don't understand it. I still don't.
obviously are probably our biggest eye on the prize, one that both of us have really liked. And I hope he just finally says, screw it, I'm done. I gave you enough. Bradley Beal.
Yeah.
Like at some point, they just gotta say, like this year, I got why he resigned because he got the max, right? Because
Right,
he
you got the
resigned with
5
his team.
years, you got
Yeah.
right.
I think they call it super max or whatever.
Right.
But okay, I'll give you one more run, get my super max. Now with super max in place, trade me up.
They went out, they traded for Will Barton and all this stuff. They let Will Barton buy out like that. The whole Kuzma thing, it didn't work. It's not going to work. They're never going to attract anybody else. It's not going to happen. Dude, like you want to have a legacy in Washington, congratulations. You're going to get absolutely zilch.
Yep.
It's not.
We'll give you Mac McClung and Tobias Harris. There you go. Let's get it done.
Boom.
But all right, let's move on to the other team. You said you didn't get to see him today. I didn't get to see him today, but I did get to look at the box score, and that's the Philadelphia Phillies. But before we get into the game that happened today earlier against the Minnesota Twins, what we've seen is kind of some flair and excitement already down in Clearwater. Trey Turner's initial opening, first, whatever word you like to use with Trey Turner, his start with the Philadelphia Phillies was definitely eye-popping. 2 singles, RBI, stolen base, run scored, just, the kind of stuff that we are just thirsting for at the top of a lineup. And then JT Realmuto coming out today, and did you see his comparison of what Andrew Painter is?
I did not. I didn't see that.
He says it reminds him of a guy, unfortunately, RIP, in Jose Fernandez that came up with the Miami Marlins as a 19-year-old and lit the league on fire.
Yeah.
He says he's got everything that Fernandez does, maybe not the flair, but he's got two more pitches. He said Fernandez threw 3, Painter throws 5, and they're all quality. And he said Fernandez had the ultimate confidence, even as a 19-year-old, and showed it on his jersey and his face. He's like, Painter has ultimate confidence and keeps it reeled in.
Right.
When you're hearing that from JT Realmuto, and that can get to what we saw today with the Minnesota Twins, from the Turner to the Painter, I think those are the biggest news happening down in Clearwater right now.
Yeah, it's big. I mean, it changes a lot, when you look at the fact that Harper is going to be out for, the majority of the first half of the season. You brought in Trey Turner, another $300 million player who is going to fill a couple voids. He's going to fill the all-star void, and he's going to fill the leadoff hitter void that we've been, like you said, to quote you, thirsting for a long time. We haven't had that guy that you place at 1, just say, go get it started. Nothing against Kyle Schwarber, because obviously he started off last season, first pitch with a bang, with a home run. Like, that's great. But again, if you have Schwarber at 2 and you have Turner getting on, instead of 40 RBIs on 40 home runs, that's 80 RBIs on 40 home runs. Like, that's the possibility is there. Obviously, it doesn't happen like that every time. But just looking at the possibility of just having at least one runner on, if Kyle Schwarber is mashing like he was last year, it changes everything. The dynamic is great. And then you look at Andrew Painter, a 19-year-old with fresh stuff, with 5 pitches, who can do it all. This is something the Phillies have been, again, thirsting for, a bona fide pitcher that we grew, that came up in our system. And I mean, easily has the opportunity to be better than what Cole Hamels was for us, because he's that homegrown, like, you drafted him, you knew what you were going to get, but let's make it work.
No,
you can actually see it through.
I can't agree. You don't know what you're going to get.
What do you mean, like with Painter?
You said you know what you're going to get with Painter.
No. Painter was a guy that, like, they said, like, we're drafting this guy to be the guy. That's more
every first round pick is.
No,
I hear you.
But even though Nola was drafted high, was a top 10 pick, everyone's like, Nola's going to be good. How good can he be? Painter, I think, has been dialed in as the guy, and he worked up so fast through them. I know Nola did too, but that was because of age. Nola was in college, went through all of college. So it was like, okay, he's mature and he's got good stuff. Let's bring him up. Painter, it's like, dude, he was mowing guys down in or in, like, whatever ball before A is, and then A, and then double A, and then triple A. Like, he's just mowing guys down left and right in one season. They were like, this guy's got the real stuff. Now, who knows? He could flail out. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that he's a sure thing. I'm not saying that in the least bit. But he has the opportunity to be that guy that has the stuff and the guy that is a franchise type of pitcher that the Phillies have not had in years and years and years on their own.
Yeah. I mean, I don't take this as, what you were saying was wrong, but and I'm not trying to paint a picture, pun not intended here, but I'm trying to say that, the Phillies have never started a 19-year-old. You have to go back to 1973 with Larry Christensen, I think. This is a path untold.
Sure.
This is a franchise that waits till 25 to bring up Ryan Howard, who probably could have hit 500 homers if they would have taken a risk on him a little earlier in his career. Yeah. This is a franchise that does not bring these guys up like this. This is more of a risk-reward situation where I think they're well indebted into this and see the reward is going to be huge. For Andrew Painter, he's never pitched at AAA. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think he has.
He might have ended last season at AA.
I thought he did. So we're talking now. Yeah. You know the story about AA. When we can say it here, but AA is supposed to have probably the better talent.
Right.
And it is a better kind of measuring stick for a pitcher's success, because a lot of the good young players and even the budding, mid-tier players are in AA before they even, go up. AAA is a lot of times a place for, fringe major league players to die.
Right, like guys who go up and down between the majors and the minors. Like AA, if you're in AA and you're excelling at AA, it means that you are on the fast track to get up to the big leagues. And like, you're probably going to skip AAA if they really need you. And
that's what it was.
Yep. Right. And I agree. So like, because AA is like the highest that you get to where it's like, okay, we need to see what you can do against AA. And then we can decide if we want to bring you up to the bigs or not. Like, again, AAA is like a guy that you're like, okay, this guy's good, but we need to see what he can do. But like, there's those guys in AA where you're like, that's the guy. Like, we need him up here desperately.
And we're talking about a kid that came out of high school in Florida. So all what I'm trying to get at is I do think the Nolas, the Hamels have paved the way and were that Andrew Painter at this time in his career. But I will agree with you on this. Painter has probably a tick more talent than them. He throws it a lot easier. He's a fastball, like a power pitcher. Neither Hamels nor Nola were power pitchers. So that's kind of the difference in where I agree with you on. So it's really exciting. I think I don't mean to say no way, but there's almost no way this kid doesn't break with the team. That's just how I feel. They just got to figure out, are they willing to accelerate his salary and his contract? Because you bring him up now, your 5 years of ARB starts ticking at 19 years old. Now he turns 20 pretty quickly. He's April, I think. But the other thing they got to figure out is innings, right? They're going to have to really figure out, you bring a guy up that's starting in late March, early April, what kind of inning tracker are you going to have him on? Now, there was one guy that started at 19 recently in the MLB that lit things up, and that's Julio Arias for the Los Angeles Dodgers. And he's still up here, and he's still throwing, and he's still producing. So there are stories, and there are, similar paths. We're just going to have to see how they use this. Because the last thing I want is this guy to be so good, and they have to say, oh, you hit your innings in September. I can't use you. So it'll be interesting.
To me, the thing is, ever since Dombrowski took over, I've had so much more the thing is, the story that was tagged around Dombrowski is he just wants to win now, and he'll sacrifice anything to get there. He'll give up talent that he has in the minors. But like this past trade deadline, like he made it clear, Painter's untouchable. He's like, I'm not letting this kid go. I'm not even letting, and I think he alluded to not even letting Abel go. Those are the two guys in the Garrity. But like Abel and Painter, he's like, I'm not letting them go. And again, this is a guy who will give up everything to win in the short term. I think he's I think he knows this is probably his last big gig. And I think I think he's made it work. And I think he's going to be here for a while. I've had more trust in the way that they've been dealing with the minors ever since they came on. I think they finally flushed out the bad eggs in their scouting department. I think they figured it out, and I think they've got it right. I think there's a lot more confidence coming from the minors with the Phillies. So I think they're definitely in a good place. And the fact that Dombrowski was like Painter's an untouchable, to me, him being such a seasoned vet in his position, I think it means they know what they have with him. And I think they're willing to take those accelerated risks, as you're talking about, in bringing him up and him being on the opening day roster. I really think that they're willing to go that route if they have
and they are. And I believe it. I just hope it's not at the risk of, us using him up too much where we're not able to, use him in the most crucial times. But it's interesting that you give Dombrowski those types of, praises and characteristics, because it reminds me of someone that was here in 2008, and Pat Gillick. You said last stop, but it's someone that will commit to the team and teach probably the next guy, that AKA Ruben Amaro, to really grow into that position. So, which they do kind of have there right now too. I think
Sam Feld, right?
Feld. I'm sorry, it's a Cash.
Yeah. He's the GM, but let's be real. Dombrowski's pulling the strings right now.
No, but he's learning. And so that's all really, really cool. Just looking at it that way. Okay. So any other news coming out of spring training that you've caught wind of? The only other thing I'm looking at is this Noah Song stuff. For those of you out there, and you probably know, but let's just reiterate it real quick. The Navy pitcher, the Academy pitcher that was released of his commitment duties with the Naval Academy to be able to go pursue his dream as a major league pitcher, has come in. He's opened some eyes already. And the fact that we got Soto stuck in the Dominican Republic because of some visa issues, and now Soto wants to pitch in the World Baseball Classic, but the Phillies want to hear it first. I mean, it's given Noah Song every opportunity to, work in that role, in that spot, and maybe get some extra grooming.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, well, not like I said, but when you have a guy that's a Rule 5 guy that you have to keep on the lineup, and like you said, Soto's not present at the time, I think this is his chance to earn a spot on the team. And I think he's got to take all advantage of it. So, I think this could be a pretty interesting time for him getting his stuff together. I think he's got a good head on his shoulders. He knows that it's going to take a lot of work for him to be able to stay up with the club. We'll see what happens with it.
Yeah. Anything else cooking out there? I mean, for me,
I think that was it. The Painter, Trey. I mean, just I think we talked about last week how Thompson pretty much is committed to Turner being the leadoff guy.
And I'll tell you why I like that. And I really was like, and I argue with some baseball, lifers, why I love Schwarber in the leadoff. I would have kept Schwarber in the leadoff if it wasn't for the fact that Trey Turner's so damn fast.
Right.
And just like that might clog the bases.
Yes. I was going to say it's wasted.
That's why I'm like, yeah, you know what? And you got to put Turner in front of him.
The way he runs the bases, and I think the rules that have been made are only going to make him more efficient, a better base stealer. I think his base stealing is just too easy for him. I think he's so smooth. He knows how to get the jumps. The bags are bigger. It would be a waste to not have him at the top of the lineup.
Yeah, I think you're allowed, 3 pickoff attempts, and then it's over, like in an at-bat. So that's another rule change. It's like, 1, 2 over there, are they coming with third? I mean, it does help, the base stealing obviously a lot more.
Yeah.
Like you said, bigger bags, it helps out a little bit with the base pass. But anyway, and the shift is gone. So you're going to have some opportunities, covering the bases a little. Anyway, it's going to open up some things for some hit and runs and all that good stuff. And that's why I think keeping him up at 1, because that speed is the right move. There was one small other tidbit I forgot to talk about, and that's Zach Wheeler coming into this camp saying, hey, you know what? I got a new pitch. He's like, I try and get a new pitch every year, but more like, or I do something different, but I'm coming in with like a slurve. We saw him definitely throw like what we'll call a curveball. And he's got, obviously the cutter and the power pitch, but he's more calling this a slider, but like a slurve, more than one that I'll say, I think Syndergaard was trying to develop a little bit at the end of his time with the Phillies. One that's probably going to get a little bit more side tilt to it than down tilt. But I thought it was interesting that Wheeler is out there, and my kind of guy, like a Halliday, is always trying to, be better at his craft, tweak things, and be less predictable.
I mean, that would be huge for him. It changes him as a pitcher because, you could see that in the playoffs, teams were able to once in a while figure him out and get under. If he adds a new pitch to his arsenal, he can change the way that he approaches. So if he can really work on this and make it a thing, he's going to now add another layer to his pitching abilities. And I think it's going to confuse batters, and, this will be the year for that they could benefit off of that. And, and you always want to see a guy, he could be 100% comfortable with where he's at and just be like, I'm good. I got the stuff that got me here. I don't need to improve. But the fact that you see him working on trying to make himself better and give himself a new wrinkle in the fold, it definitely shows you that he's committed to being the number one guy on this team, and that he's trying to set an example and to do things the right way, and, to be an ace who is in the Cy Young talks again this year.
Yep, that's what I think is going to happen. So Philly's got a lot. Like, they've been winning some games. They've been hitting some balls. Wins don't matter too much in spring training, but it's been nice to see the start of it. Almost looking like a team that's there on a mission.
Yeah.
I know it's early, but it's been a nice little foreshadowing to what is a definitely high expectation season here in Philadelphia. As we move on to one more team here, I mean, we could talk Flyers, but again, they're just they're skating in the mud. And, tonight they were able, last time I checked, they were up 2-1. They might have they lost.
They lost 3-2.
I mean, it's every night.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure.
OT.
Yeah.
But so we'll skip them. We'll go right over with Philadelphia Eagles, and talk quickly. Just some news out there, free agency wise. A lot of different things going on, but the big news is Brian Johnson being hired as the offensive coordinator. I'm kind of, we saw that coming, but to just finally get the label, good on him. And then the news of the new defensive coordinator, I think, is very interesting.
Interesting, yes. Sean Desai, formerly
assistant
head coach for the Seattle Seahawks, previously the defensive coordinator in 2021 with the Chicago Bears. They were actually, I think, at least in the NFC, if not the whole NFL, they were a fifth-ranked defense. They really, I want to say, outkicked their coverage in the fact that they didn't have a lot of talent, but they were able to be a good defensive core. So obviously it's under his tutelage. I've seen varied things on him. Obviously, I don't know all the world about him, but you got some guys that say he's a Vic Fangio, Jonathan Gannon prototype who is going to play off the ball. But then, people were showing, still shots and screenshots of the way that the Bears defense looked in 2021, where they have all their guys pressed up on coverage and they're willing to do that. So a lot of people in the know are saying that, again, it's really a mixed bag. Going to be interesting to see. I want to hear him, see what he has to say. But there are former players who have played under him who said that he likes to throw out exotic looks, at offenses. He likes to change things up. So if we can get at least a little more exotic of a version of Gannon's defense last year, I think it's good. Obviously, we'll have to see. But right now, it only means so much because we really don't know what that defense is going to look like, because free agency is going to wreak havoc on us, and we're going to have to figure out where we are after the draft.
No, I agree. But just the addition of some young blood and, the story that you opened up with a little bit today, but we just touched on a minute, was Gannon coming up finally at the combines this week, talking about what went wrong and some players firing back. Be gone and bringing this new blood with a little bit more attacking style, and I'm here for it.
The hope.
Yeah, hope is right. Other quick news with the Eagles, and obviously a lot going on, but this quarterback sneak talk, the NFL may be adapting the rules to take that out. Eagles were playing within the rules. I always hated the push. I hated it. I remember back to Matt Leinart with USC in Notre Dame and Reggie Bush coming behind and push him in to win the game up in South Bend. It's been around forever, but now football all of a sudden, and when we talk Leinart, we're talking 10, 12 years ago.
Right.
Yeah. Now all of a sudden, now we're going to not a problem.
Right. And the Patriots did it too.
Yes.
Patriots do it with Brady too. And Slay called it out because Peter King's like, they definitely need to go back and they need to readjust the rules, blah, 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 blah. And, Slay's got a lot to say. And he goes, hater. He goes, Tom, New England was doing it for all these years with Tom Brady, but now there's a problem with it.
Yep.
That kind of thing. And it is true. Like, why is it that when it goes on in Philly with the scenario that we have, that it's a problem? Why is it a problem now?
Right.
Like, that's why, because it was successful. Like, these other teams can do it too. Dalvin Cook can run up and grab up on Kirk Cousins' ass if he wants and push him into the end zone too. There's nothing in the rules that says they can't do it. But now because the Eagles were successful with it and they were the 92%, as Jason and Travis Kelce talk about in their podcast, like, dude, like, get over it. Like, it is what it is. But I think it's annoying. But at the same time, I think the Eagles will find ways to be like, we're still going to do it, because a lot of it is Hurts himself. It just, there's been and honestly, how often it actually was necessary, it's probably not nearly as necessary as the times they did it, because Hurts is already there half the time anyway. He's already crossed the line, and then they're just kind of pushing it forward. So it's not like they were dependent on it. No. Hurts has a lot. Again, everybody talks about the fact that he squats 600 pounds. Like, he's got that push already, and they have a great line.
Yeah, it's fine. Two other stories coming out. Jason Kelce, Eagles are going to wait on whatever amount of time he needs to make a decision. Blah, blah, blah. I get it. And they should, and that's great. And I'm at the point at the end of the season, I was convinced he wasn't. But now that we're March, I'm thinking maybe more and more he might give it one more year. So other news I heard, Eagles might go hard at Darius Slay to talk to him about renegotiating that big contract to maybe make some things more easier for them to bring some of these guys back, such as Bradbury. I thought Bradbury was a no all along, but a lot of people having it, 1B to 2 right behind CJ is the top 2 priority on this team.
So a couple things that you said. In regards to Jason Kelce, I know he had Sirianni, and I know I think he had Steichen. He had a couple guys on, I think he's down in Indianapolis right now at the Combine. And he has Howie Roseman on his podcast. Now, it may mean something, it may not. But the one thing I would think is, like, you're having your general manager on a podcast, like, I wouldn't be surprised if Howie goes like, so Jason, what are you thinking? Like, type of thing. Maybe like they keep that in-house and maybe they use it, for clout on the YouTube thing, which I hate, but it is what it is. But maybe Jason this week hints at on his podcast what he's going to do. It's frustrating. Like, I know they can let him wait as long as he wants to. He's probably a Hall of Famer. But, like, at the same time, you need to figure out your team. I know you have Cam Jurgens in the wings, but, like, if it's not that, and if you're going to lose Sayamalu, you got to figure out then if you put Jurgens at center, who you're going to get for your guard if you lose Sayamalu. Because I think Sayamalu is going to get a lot of money, kind of like Big V did after the Super Bowl. I think he's going to be gone. There's a couple guys. So in regards to that, I think Kelce's going to do it sooner than later. And I think he's going to say that he's coming back. You talked about Darius Slay maybe renegotiating. That's obviously option number 1 of what I would like to do with him. There's also been rumors. Again, I think that's more of a local thing that have been said, but maybe they might even entertain trading him. The issue with that, because then if you trade him, that means you're bringing back Bradbury. Like, you have the money now to be able to do that. So that's a good thing. But also Darius Slay, first half of the season was great. Second half fell off a little bit, but I think the fear is gone with Bradbury, and I think people will attack him. It's not like Bradbury has been talented. He's been talented in the league on a couple different teams, but they'll attack him more. It could be more of a Namdi situation where, remember when Namdi Asamoah was in Oakland, he only got thrown at 26% of the time because whoever was opposite of him was pure trash. And they just knew that they could go that route. And maybe this is not that scenario, but you don't want them relying on Bradbury too much. I don't think Bradbury's a number one. I think he's a great number two. I don't think he's a great number one. So in the end, I think you want Slay there, but Slay might free up money. He's got a lot of money. So renegotiating would obviously be the best thing. If he wants to win and wants this team to be successful, that's going to happen. Another thing that I think too, I think it's safe to say to me, and actually what would be, and I didn't think I would ever be at this place, but honestly, Javon Hargrave is my number one of who I want to stay, but he's gone. I think he's gone. There's so many teams that have interest in him. He's going to be looking at
that year he had was
I think he's good as gone, and I think it's going to be. I think it's going to hurt. I think they have enough. Like, and he was saying high things about Corey Davis. Hopefully that comes to happen because Corey Davis was playing well until he got hurt. So you know,
you mean Jordan Davis?
Yeah, I'm sorry, Jordan Davis.
Okay,
yeah.
You mixed Corey Simon and Jordan Davis. I think that's where you were going. Yeah.
Yes, my apologies. Jordan Davis, obviously. So that's going to be an interesting scenario to watch. Also, something that I wanted to add into the fold, and then obviously you jump in, but Howie Roseman said that in his press conference the other day, how Jalen is, wants to make sure that the team is good. It almost sounds like he's going to take not a team-friendly hometown discount. I don't think that's going to be the case. He's got to get paid. His agency, his female agency, like they have to make a name for themselves, so they have to get a good deal. Yeah. But I also think he's cognizant that if he wants to, because if his end-all be-all goal, which I really do believe it is, like with the head on his shoulder, is to hold up that Lombardi trophy, he's got to be real with himself and be able to say, we need some guys on defense because the offense is locked up. I'm not going to kill this team with the cap. Like the thing is, you look at like what they did with Patrick Mahomes. He got a $500 million deal. It's over 10 years. They can split that money out wide. We might see a 7-8 year type of deal with Hurts where they can move money as years go and they can bump him up and bump him down, something like that. I think he's going to find a way to make it work with this team. And I think we're going to be okay. I don't think, and I wouldn't be surprised, or it might have the fake biggest deal ever, but I don't think it'll last long. And I think we'll be okay with his deal when all is said and done. That's what I took from Howie Roseman's press conference.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. But, even if it comes out and it looks like it's $50 million because you wanted to make it look like he is playing at that level of quarterbacks, obviously Deshaun Watson has killed this whole thing.
Huge market. Yeah. The Browns obliterated it.
But I think Howie will find a way to make it cap friendly. Put it that way. You'll see numbers. It'll all be based on bonuses and some other things. Yep. They'll pay the guy. They'll take care of him. But I'm with you. I think he'll find a way to make it cap friendly. That's how I look at it. But hey man, a lot in there in the last 45 minutes. A lot on good teams here with the Sixers, Phillies, Eagles. You got anything else on your mind?
No, I mean, like I said, I came out spitting fire with
you did.
What I feel about the whole Harden situation, and and to even further elaborate on it, it's just like with social media, with the way that players go about things nowadays. You look at the Aaron Rodgers of the world, like, the drama is great. I get it. It sells a product. And you think that the leagues don't have any say in it? Of course they do. Everything, trust me, these guys aren't coming up with these solutions on their own either. There's a lot of puppet strings and, manipulations that are going on. I truly do think that. Not going into conspiracy stuff, but I just think like you got to have intrigue in the off season and these shows and everything like that. And everybody's a source now and everybody wants to make a name for themselves. I am tired of the dramatics. I am tired of the antics. Like I'm starting to sound like the guy who's like, get off my lawn. I'm sounding like the old man who's just pissed off all the time, but it's really true. Like think about when you were a kid, when I was a kid. I was just saying to somebody today, like, I can scream and pout all I want, but I'll never be the center fielder for the starting center fielder for the Philadelphia Phillies.
Yeah.
I'll never get that, but that was my dream. If I had that, I wouldn't have a complaint in the world. Obviously, different people have different scenarios and stuff that we don't know outside of sports. But like, wasn't there a point in your life? Now it has to do with money and getting everything you want, but like, wasn't there a point in your life when you just loved the game and you just wanted to play, and it didn't matter who you played for, you just wanted to give it your best and give it your all? It's too much dramatics nowadays. I'm so old school, and I didn't think I'd be talking like this at the age of 35, but I'm so frustrated with today's athlete. I'm so frustrated. And the thing is, guys like Aaron Rodgers, who are older than me, are the ones who are doing the bitching and the moaning about what they don't have or what they're upset about. And I'm going to sit in a chamber for 4 days in the dark, and I'm going to hallucinate, and I'm going to find myself like, go pound sand and kick rocks. I don't care. Like, I'm so over it all. Like, I just wish guys could just, and it's not like shut up and dribble. I'm not saying that, but like you're so lucky to be doing what you do. Get your shit together. That's how I feel. Get your shit together is my end all be all of all of it.
We need some more hot takes from Mark. I love it. It only took, episode 53. Now you've had plenty more than that. But yeah, no, I love it. I love it.
I'm hot.
I just love, don't be on a fence, be on one side. And that was great. That was great. But that wraps it up for this week on Fourth and Go here on a winning Wednesday night with the 76ers winning down in Miami and us just kicking it through the post, talking all things Philly sports here, as we do each and every week, whether it's Wednesday, Thursday. Keep an eye on Twitter to know what our schedule is. We shoot for Wednesdays. We sometimes land on Thursdays. But between that, we'll always have a show up for you guys, talking all that stuff that you love and so much more. I'm Dave Gleckner. This is Mark Tomasini. Until next week, have a great week. Go Sixers. Go Phillies.